What's going on, guys? Welcome back to RC Every Day. So, this build has been driving me nuts. I'm just, I don't know if I'm just not in the right frame of mind lately, but I'm glad that I've kind of been dragging my feet on it because I got to actually read all the comments and stuff before I was already, a video and a half past the point. And you guys had a lot of good tips about, everybody says flip the front axle, flip the front axle. Back when I started doing this with the Yoda 1 axles, you couldn't just flip. Like, you could just take the axle, flip it over, and then obviously it rotates the wrong way. So without taking the inners apart and switching the pinion and the spur, which side of the diff they're actually on, that would not work. But with these newer style Yoda 2s, they are reversible, I guess, per se. So we have to take the entire diff apart, remove the cover and the entire, what do you call it, the gear unit, like a 4/9", whatever they call it. Anyway, you can take that out and then we can flip the entire thing around and then just put it back together that way. I think that'll work. A lot of you guys say it'll work, so we're going to do that in this video. But this has also led to a lot of other tips. Some of the stuff about the wheelbase. I did not realize these leaf springs, they look shorter, but they actually are shorter than a standard TF2 leaf spring. And you guys were saying, somebody in the comments said you can just flip these brackets around and run a stock TF2 leaf. And when I center that on the axle, I mean, we're just about perfect. And we do have a lot of space to move forward on the in the front wheel well of this truck. So as long as our front shackles play nice, because these are kind of a fixed shackle, they're not independent side to side like the TF2 ones, that will work out fantastic as well. And hopefully soften the thing up and get us a little bit better. So if we can get the drive shaft on the proper side so it clears our transmission, then maybe we can revisit the leaf under. A lot of you guys on Facebook and stuff have been sharing pictures. Leaf under works great. Just leaf springs work great. So I think we're on the right track, and I appreciate the feedback because again, I've never converted one of these chassis. So it's been a while since I've done any kind of leaf spring conversion. I've just been putting kits together for too long, I guess. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna strip the front end down. We're gonna reverse these brackets, flip them side to side, and yeah, those all go in and stuff. And I didn't Loctite those in the last video because I wasn't sure if this was all gonna stay. And I really like the idea of longer leaves. If you look at the photos of the real FJ40s, your leaf springs actually are bolt further out here onto the bumper. And like I mentioned in the last video, we don't really have the scale versions of true to scale things. We got to work with what we got, but this is a cool fix. And thank you whoever it was that commented that idea. I don't know if it was on Facebook or on YouTube, but that's the route we're going to go. So I'm not going to show the whole disassembly stuff. I'm just going to skip to the future where we got this all apart, and we'll tear the axle apart now. All right, got the front cover off. This has got our pinion, all that mess in it. So this is pretty much the same, vice versa. Just want to make sure, I got it here on camera, so we make sure we go back the opposite way. So I'm hoping we are going to have to pull the shafts out because we do have to switch the gear to the opposite side. Because if we just throw this on the other side here, I believe that is going to cause us to rotate the wrong direction. So we need this gear facing that way. It's easy to pull. I cheated here, and we'll say not a single screw on this was tight. So if you got a kit, check them. Might add a little Loctite, at least to 4 of them. That wasn't very tight. Which I guess these needed to be super tight because they're kind of blocked in by the other piece, but still. All right, so we need to get those screws out. I was hoping we would not have to take off any of the knuckles, but to be able to pull the shafts out to get the gears flipped around, we're gonna have to. Let's do the long side first, see if maybe we can just do one. I don't know. Oh, wrong size. So again, these 2 screws here, even on these redesigned knuckles, that is a definite place you want to Loctite. I'm probably not going to do it in this video because I don't drive my rigs as much as you guys do. After going to all these events and stuff, and seeing how you guys put these things through their paces, you definitely want to do that. I'll be all right for not doing it for a while. So you can see some of that. You see the XVD shaft, it's all made into it. I'll get you a closer look there. Yeah, we're gonna have to take the other side off too. I'm hoping this will work. I don't know for a fact. We may run into some issues. All right, I'll go ahead and Loctite these when we get back to putting it back together. Just out of guilt. You made me feel guilty because you guys always tell me. All right. Why are we not coming out? Do we have any kind of retaining? Oh, there we go. All right. Don't want to mess with the bearings. I don't want to mess with anything. And I already forgot if that was the right way it went in. Great part about recording all this, so I can go back and see. So now, oh, we don't want our little, oh, come on. There it is. Luckily the knuckles they work in either direction, so we don't have to swap any of that around, thankfully. It's one less thing we got to do. If I can get these suckers back in here. It's fitting very snug. Oh, we probably have the, yep. It was the spline inside of the actual pinion gear. There we go. All right, I'll add it. I'm not gonna do, okay, I do have, I'm back and forth on the Loctite. We got a little bit there ready. I'm gonna throw that on the gun. Don't send these to, you know, don't turn it up to 11, but one ugga-dugga, one scale ugga-dugga will work. So this works. This was awesome. I appreciate the guys that commented. I had more than one person comment about this on the YouTube video. Makes a whole lot more sense than having to buy another axle like I did on one of the recent builds. I think it was the, well, no, I had one that was oriented the other way. And it makes sense they would make it where they don't have to make a separate housing. There we go. Where are those screws? I'll mix up the hardware. Before we button this up too, I guess while we're here, we'll go ahead and throw a little bit of extra grease on the situation. That's a fair amount of grease on one from the factory though, so I don't feel too bad about driving it right out of the box. But if you're gonna go like beat the creek last week, if you're gonna go take it swimming, you definitely want to get some marine grease or something. I like to use lithium grease on mine because I've had a tube of it for 10 years and I can't seem to finish it. All right, so now we can put this the proper way. Go ahead and get these four. Those will lock themselves in, so I'm not going to Loctite those. And get this bit changed with one hand. Again, my favorite tool, Bauhaus and Helios. These fit into your 18-volt drill, and so far I've only broken one of the 0.5s. So use caution, but it's handy when you don't have to sit there, especially these differentials. That one felt like it might have stripped. Be very, very delicate with that. Get my lithium grease is right here under the table. Sure we put that, yeah, we got that in there the right way, so. Slightly snug that up. So now this is going to mount that direction. So turning it right spins us forward. Let's double check that with the chassis. Turning it right spins us forward, so we're good to go. All right, so I only Loctited 4 of those diff screws. It'll be good enough. Be very, very delicate with this. They see why they were slightly loose from the factory, because if you go the slightest bit too much, but it'll be good. So I'm gonna work my way around, do one each side, lightly snug. I'm not cutting the heads off of any bolts today. Not today, Satan. Not today. Had a bunch of bad storms move through here earlier again. What's up with this weather lately? One more on the bottom. All right, so now we have the left-hand pumpkin. Do we try leaf under? Why not? All right, guys. Moving on, I ran into a problem already with one of the theories we're testing out. Switching these brackets side to side. Maybe I misunderstood the comment, but these don't switch side to side because of the angle on the bottom of it. So I can't just flop that over. Nothing will line up. So I'm not sure what to do about that. You go back and look at the pictures that person had posted. Maybe they did drill and tap and move the front mounts forward, because I don't know. Running the longer leaf springs I think would really help. So I don't know. Right, so I went back and found the comment. We're opening a whole new can of worms here. So seems to be, we'll just call this build can of worms because that's all we're doing. So we can move those forward. The rears cannot move. That little block that you bolt through there. We would have to drill and tap that, which not a big deal. But it is going to move the axle forward, which according to his photos is more scale and more true to the real vehicle. But we definitely need to bolt that because as, well, I've got that tight, but it could walk back. But I don't know. We need, I don't know what the other word for it is. Just putting this thing together and taking it apart a million times. These longer leaves definitely give us the opportunity to go leaf under. And I think that may actually work really well this time. So I'm going to go ahead and mock it up before we do any drilling and tapping. And we'll get some tires and stuff on this and see how it sits. See if we can run those little skinny tires that I love so much, or if it's going to be too much. Well, it's good and it's bad. It doesn't work. I mean, it fits, but we still don't have enough travel at that position in the front to, why this is binding up. We just don't have any, this weird shackle setup is definitely a no-go. And we've moved the axle forward pretty far now that the shock mounts and stuff are not going to be conducive to anything good. Unfortunately, dang it, I like the longer leaf style. I wish those would have just turned around. That would have solved all of our problems. It would have kept the axle just a hair forward of where it was. And everything would have jived nice, but it is a no-go. These are the CC hand lower mounts with the actual lowered shock mount. I don't know that we actually need those on this with these taller hoops, but it's the only ones I have free right now, and that screw is starting to strip out, and that's why it's not all the way tight. So I don't know. I want to mock it up still and see how high our ride height is with this setup and see how we've adjusted the wheelbase. I'm curious to see if this is actually taller in the back. Just barely. So let me get the body out and we'll set this thing up and maybe see what we've done. All right, so I'm not mad at that wheelbase adjustment at all. It works, but dang it. So we get leaf under the axle like stock truck. The back's still just a little high, and of course it's all cattywampus because I got jack stands on the other side. If we do this in the front, we're gonna have to do away with that kit shackle, and we're gonna have to go to a regular shackle, which, if I remember right, the rears are longer. Oh no, they're about the same as the TF2. So, but that's gonna throw our pinion angle off if we do away with that bracket and run a standard shackle. That's gonna tilt the axle back the wrong way, and then we have those blocks that it came with, pinion shims to try and get it back right. So I don't know. If we do this on the front, we're gonna have to do the back. And if we do the back axle under, we're gonna need to make springs longer. And it's probably gonna mean drilling some holes. Looking at this setup here, we can't, the back wheelbase is actually already a little further back. So I don't know, we need to do some thinking, see what direction we want to take this. All right, got the front leaf under, stock leaves. It's still hitting the spur gear, but I mean, that's the price to pay. This one leaf is completely tweaked, and I don't know that it'll ever be right. I did cut open that CC hand kit and got the standard rear flip blocks, and I got to find some screws. We'll get this bolted up, get this mocked up on 2 wheels because I did put the other wheels on the stock tires, and see if maybe this gets us here. Like I said, the front will work, but man, it's just close. Like that spur gear, if I fully compress, we're hitting the drive shaft. And I did get that drive shaft out of phase. We'll fix it. We'll get there. All right, got the steering link hooked up. Depends, you got to flip-flop it around. With leaf under this setup, I put it on the back still. It barely clears, and it doesn't get in the way of any of the other stuff hitting other things. So, yeah. Now I've got the rear on, leaf under. So let's get this thing flipped up. See if it's too low. Mounts to get this all jiving right. Make sure we got the body where it's gonna be. Make sure everything's lined up neat and tidy. Oh baby, I think we're pretty square. All right, that's digging. I'm digging it. That looks pretty stock. We got the leaf under like the stock truck. Our rear axle is just a hair to the rear. But I mean, this is just a thing. We can take a Dremel, widen that out just a little bit, and it'll look perfectly centered. The front looks perfectly centered. So talking about that earlier with the moving the axle forward, just getting it low has moved it forward enough. We still have travel. I can't push on it because I don't have the other 2 tires mounted. So we're going really small tire with this. So I'm perfectly okay with widening out the rear wheel arch just a hair. We need to move that back maybe a 1/4 of an inch. Just that'll be easy with the Dremel and the sanding disc. What else? I'm feeling pretty good. We got enough flex, enough travel to be scale. Like I said, I'm trying to make this kind of like the BRX-02, the Land Rover. We've got the height now. We've got the ride height. Ideally, longer leaf springs would work better, but we don't have the room. But flipping that axle around has really got us where we need to be. And the only thing left to deal with is this. We have to do away with that boat anchor hanging out down there. Looking at the shocks, it looks like if there's room, I don't even know if we need those shock brackets on the front. We might be able to switch the lowering blocks or the flip blocks from the front to the back. And because the shock towers on the Glon 2s are obviously longer. So I think we could get an 80 in there just fine with the stock. Well, no, because it's only got a top mount. Dang it. I don't know. The rears are going to be tight. We're going to need some shorter shocks. And I don't think 80s are going to cut it. This already has that box that's in the bed. We have this lid here that kind of covers the shock towers. So yeah, we got some room to play around, but I think we're on to something. Our drive lines and stuff look good. I don't know why they didn't come with that axle flip from the factory. That would just make so much more sense having it on that side. You could get even more flex with the stock 3-link, 4-link setup. So I don't know, blows my mind. But this is what we did here. This is awesome. I appreciate all the feedback I got from you guys on social media and in the comments below. That's why we're here still trying stuff, dragging this build out, not rushing it together. I have been tempted, thanks to some of you guys and some of your pictures, to cut the doors off and leave the top off and do all of that jazz, but I don't know. We're still a long way from getting to the body, and we'll figure that out when we get there. All right, so now we're on to the next hurdle of this, trying to get it low. So we need to definitely do away with this stock transfer case mount. I've got some TF2 ones. I've got like 20 of them, honestly. But one thing I noticed, my rear diff is hitting this plate. So I'm planning on running a Fusion. I've got an SE to spare right now. I'd rather run a Pro, but I've got an SE. So rather than spend another $150, which is apparently what the going rate is for them now that the tariffs kicked in, we're just going to steal the SE out of the Midnight Edition Blazer because I've got some changes in mind for that. But I'm trying to get this cross member out right now because it's restricting our up travel. And I don't know that we actually need all that much, but yeah, we don't need electronic storage out here in the back. If we're running a Fusion, everything will be contained up here. We'll have our receiver somewhere and out of the way. And that's all we got. So we'll try to pull that out. I've got to take the chassis rails loose, I think, to get this unwedged out of here. I don't think it slides out the bottom. Took the screws out already. And yeah, just keep messing with that. We'll try the TF2 mount. It still hangs down pretty low, but we can look at some other aftermarket ones. I'm trying to think. I don't think the Bauhaus skid will fit on this chassis because it bolts to holes in the bottom. So we'll have to look at some of the other stuff we've got on other rigs and get an idea of where we can take this thing. Don't Loctite anything until you're ready to actually finish building the rig. I got one of these and it's recessed down in there nice and deep like, so yeah, looks like we're gonna be taking the whole transfer case out. Luckily I have some spares we can swap in. Got it all loose, but we're just only held on by this extra shaft here, which we might be able to slide all this apart. Yeah, look, I didn't Loctite that. Look at that. I had one of the screws on the battery tray stripped out as well, but there we are. All right, let's find another skid plate. All right, for now we're going to swap on a stock TF2 transfer case mount. Still got quite a bit of hang down. Had to drill out one of the screws. Yeah, you see how that Loctite went everywhere. Wipe that off. Oh, it's still all over everything. So I think that's gonna do it. Got one screw left from the original setup. Gotta find another one. And I went outside, so now I've got flies in the shop. That's not the right screw. All right, I gotta find some screws. One of those wasn't real thrilled about going into its home, but whatever. See if we can clock the drive shafts right this time. Come on. Down in there. I hate when aluminum sounds crunchy. And we're not gonna be able to get all of them at once. Just hoping it all lines up right. I got a pin out of some. That's out of that shaft. We'll pull this back one out. Maybe not. Come on, these things. Guess we need to see if we can get the skid plate mounted in. That is something I didn't think about. I don't believe these are threaded on the inside, so we're not gonna be able to just screw it in from the outside. That kind of stinks. I'm worried that's not gonna line up either, so let me do some figuring around here and see what we can see what's going on. All right, so that I barely fit. I feel like it was just a millimeter off. And I had to take this side loose and kind of hammer one in and get them both started before they would actually thread, but now we're cooking. We're all in, ready to go. So we gained a little, well, not really. We got rid of all the, I don't even know where it went now. We got rid of all the hooking things, and we got this kind of a smoother thing to slide on. That's what we'll call it. So I need to mount up the other two wheels to the other two Boom Racing tires and get this thing sitting on all fours for the first time. And maybe look at shocks, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it for the night, so we may wrap it up here. At least we'll have a roller, which will be a big step forward. All right, I hate doing bead locks, but I wanted to show you. I got it off the other wheel. Every time I turn the camera on, it goes south. I got the third one done, no problem. But it's just how it goes. Once the camera is on, everything goes south and haywire. Get these flies in here. I get a bug zapper for the porch of the shop. That kind of lined up. Start with the deep side. Like I said, these tires mounted up a whole lot easier than the stock ones. A lot less sticky, but still very, very soft. For these kind of wheels, I find the hole that's aligned with the point of this, that cutout. It's just the only kind of frame of reference I can find. We got side out over here. So the screws aren't long enough to reach through. I've been using these little miniature DeWalt clamps here. Try to get them in as close to the edge as I can so it doesn't deform the bead. And we've already got deformity on that side, so we'll see how this goes. Oh, come on. Don't lose the hardware. All right, things are looking pretty close. Use my little 1.5, kind of pry it into place. Get that lined up. Go ahead and get one of these on the drill. This fly will not get out of my face. Good Lord. We can kind of hold the whole mess in place. Not going to go all the way yet. I'm going to go ahead and get another one started. Go the opposite side. Go ahead and grab the hex. Hopefully we can get through there. Go ahead and get that started. And I lost the nut. All right, felt one of those clamps come loose. Try to do that without pulling the bead apart. We got a mess up in the bead right there, so hopefully it balances out. This damn fly. There we go. Got it pulled out. Not going to tighten those two yet. We'll go ahead and do the two next to that, and we'll work them in. Cheating using the drill. Luckily this has a 1.5 instead of a 0.5 or a 1 or whatever size it is I'm talking about. Snug that one up. Go ahead and do the one next to it. Check our bead. Looks good enough. Go ahead and do the one next to the other one. I feel like I'm missing some hardware. And that one didn't want to tighten. That one did. Now we're tight. All right. Looks like I lost one nut somewhere on the table. And get it kind of lined up. Now where did our nut go? And now the fun part. So there's a final look at the chassis. We've got pretty good clearance up front now with the leaf under. I'm not ready to mess with the shocks tonight, but yeah, again, this is the CC hand axle flip kit. The RC4 drive parts that come on the 82 Toyota will work as well, but the CC hand ones give you a lower shock mount that is lower, obviously. Not looking like that's going to clear our steering link, so we may have to switch that to the front. Since we are on the bottom, or yeah, look at it right side up, the bottom side of the link, it would be no problem to do that up front, and we could put the upper link to the servo on the top side of that piece right there. So that's stuff for another time. I love these little tires, these skinny Chevron tires, just the right look. So let's mock the body up and wrap this video up. So there's our ride height. Got guys in the comments already telling me I need to move that forward mount forward, that leaf hanger forward, and run those longer leaves, but I don't know. I feel like it's already forward. I mean, the camera's coming from this angle, so you can't really see, but it's further forward to this arch than it is from this arch. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure. And like I mentioned earlier, we can trim this out if needed, but I don't think I've got it lined up, just eyeballed where the screw holes go for the body mounts, and I think we're going to be okay, but we can always widen that out just a hair to balance things out. So yeah, I think we got a good roller. Next up is to figure out the shocks and just go from there. That kind of wraps up the chassis. We can go ahead and throw a motor and all that stuff in it, servo, get it dialed in, then we can start the body. So I know I've been flip-flopping back and forth. It's just, you know, when you run into problems, you kind of like, well, all right, well, I could do it this way and I could do it that way. Make it work. So I appreciate all the comments and all the messages and stuff about this. And it's got us to this point. I love these tires. I love this stance. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool build. So if you're interested in these, check out RC4wdrive.com. They have these kits in stock. And yeah, the leaf spring kits, RC4 drive. We haven't really used anything that's not RC4 drive other than the tires yet. So tires again are Boom Racing. They're a Landy 1.9, so it kind of goes with the Land Cruiser body. And that's about it. So see you guys in the next video. Appreciate y'all watching. Keep it scale.